So in this video, I would like to explain what are the 6 Russian cases, or declensions, or what I like to call them, the 6 types of Russian expressions. Now, I'm not going to fully elaborate on these cases in this video, because each type of expression requires more explanation and a full understanding of how it works. In the next videos, I'll describe each Russian case on its own. In this video, nonetheless, I'll explain what are the 6 Russian cases, or types of expressions, and why and how they work in Russian. So, in formal terms, Russian cases answer a particular set of questions, also known as declensions. A declension is the modification of nouns, pronouns, adjectives, or other words by which a grammatical case, number, and gender are identified. Considering this definition, it's safe to say that Russian has 6 different types of expressions that can change a word in 6 ways. The expressions themselves define the way a word modifies its form when used in a different context. In other words, Russian can have a word that can be modified in 6 ways because the word can be expressed differently in 6 ways. The way a word can be modified is by changing the endings depending on the case that they are in. That's the reason why I call them the 6 types of expressions as opposed to the 6 cases. One of the reasons why cases are vital is because Russian is an expressive language, meaning that any sentence can be said in any way, which can help determine the subject from something else. In my opinion, the best way to learn and understand these expressions is to listen to how they sound and be more fluent. Memorizing them will simply be way too much work, so I advise against that. But again, you can learn however you want. Now, I'll explain these cases by first introducing them formally and linguistically. Their definitions might help you understand the cases more because they have more connections to their formal origin. However, after giving the formal definition of each case, I'll explain the cases on a personal level by redefining the meaning as the 6 types of expressions in Russian, giving examples of questions, and putting an emphasis simply on the words themselves. Later in the video, I'll give specific phrases with new grammar, but you don't have to focus on that. Simply focus on the modified words themselves. I'll also show the definitive translations of each case because they'll make much more sense when you visually see what each case is about. So, the 6 Russian cases, in order, are the nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, instrumental, and prepositional. The nominative case simply identifies the subject of a sentence at the beginning of any sentence. This case has the same meaning in English as in Russian. The genitive case shows possession, attribution, and absence, indicating the relationship between something of or from something else. In other words, it's a case that indicates the possession of something. The dative case shows that something is given or addressed to something else, and it's typically used for indirect objects. The accusative case is used for the object of a sentence, as opposed to the subject. Also, it works with animate and inanimate objects, more than any other case. In English, we tend to use the accusative with pronouns, but in Russian, all nouns can be used in the accusative. The instrumental case shows which instrument is used to act, basically making use with the help of what an action is completed with. The prepositional case simply talks about something. Now, I'm not going to give specific examples in each case, but in the next videos, I'll explain each case more specifically, just to give you a full understanding of what each case does and when to use it. I've decided to first show the formal definition of each case to give you a sense of what to expect when these cases are put into context. Learning them formally is one thing, but applying them in a sentence is different, which is why I'll give a more thorough explanation using my personal definitions. I'll still keep the formal definitions next to my personal ones to make learning simpler and legitimate. Nonetheless, here is my explanation of the 6 Russian cases. The 6 Russian cases can be redefined as the 6 Russian expressions because each expression generates a different meaning when put into context. Russian modifies words in 6 different ways, therefore accommodating the 6 expressions. At first, this concept can be perceived with question words like what, who, and sometimes where that get modified when you formally express them. Even though I already gave their formal definitions, here is a more extended and personal explanation of what each expression does. The first type of expression in Russian answers what or who. The second type of expression answers of from what or of from whom. It can also be used with the question word from where. The third type of expression answers to what or to whom. It can also be used with the question word to wear. The fourth type of expression answers what or whom. It is similar to the first one, but don't get it confused just because it has the same word. Each expression is different on its own and has different meanings despite borrowing the same words. The fifth type of expression answers with what or with whom. The sixth type of expression answers about what or about whom. These are the full definitions of what each expression answers, in correlation with the formal definitions of the cases. Now that I've shown what each expression does, hopefully you can understand what each case is about. But to make sure you fully understand the nature of these cases, here's what they look like when translated correctly. Here, you're seeing an image of DeepL Translate, which is an accurate translator, so therefore, expect these words to be modified differently than they are in English. At first, we have what or who in the nominative expression, which is chto and kto. A native Russian speaker always pronounces chto as shto with a sh sound. Additionally, we have the word where in the nominative, which is где. Now here, this is where you start to see the words really change form once a different expression is used. In the genitive, we have the same word but with a preposition, of from what and of from whom. There's also from where. Here, you can see the same word in Russian, but it's modified differently because of the 6 Russian cases. In Russian, the words are от из чего, от из кого, and откуда. A native speaker would say от из чего, от из кого, and откуда. At the end of these translations, you'll see and hopefully understand why Russian modifies words. Let's keep going. In the dative, we have to what and to whom and to where. And the meaning is the same in Russian, but the words themselves get modified differently. In Russian, the words are к чему, к кому, and куда. In the accusative, we have what and whom, not to be confused with identical words previously modified. Even though they borrow the same words, the case still generates a different meaning, and sometimes you'll see the same modified words used in different sentences, meaning that their syntax is simply borrowed from a different case. In Russian, the words are что and кого. In the instrumental, we have with what and with whom, and in Russian, the words are с чем and с кем. In the prepositional, we have about what and about whom, and in Russian, the words are о чем and о ком. Notice the huge difference between English and Russian. What, whom, and where stay the same across every translation in English. In Russian, however, the words themselves get modified in 6 different ways, but in this case, some words are borrowed and therefore repeated. That's the big difference between grammar in Russian and grammar in any other language. What, who, and where stay what, who, and where in English, except maybe from who, which changes to whom. Still, the words don't get modified, but in Russian, they are all different because Russian is very complex and expressive, so you get to say words however you want. All of these words mean what, whom, and where in Russian, but they are written in 6 different ways. That's the toughest thing to learn about Russian. These things are declensions, and they can be applied not only to question words, but also to nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and other words as well. That's the most difficult concept that there is in Russian, which makes it very complicated, but still, it's possible to understand how and why Russian does that. Finally, allow me to present a few phrases just to show how each case modifies each type of word, depending on gender and quantity. These Russian cases can modify one masculine word in 6 ways that would be different from a feminine word, which is different from a neuter word. Considering that such words can be pluralized, this amount is now doubled. But again, do not worry about memorizing each modification for such words. I'll explain all of them in detail in the next videos. Furthermore, in the phrases that I'll show, only focus on the modified words themselves. Don't try to memorize them and understand what endings match what word. It's almost impossible to keep track of these concepts, so therefore, I'll show these phrases just so you can visually see how Russian modifies words. Again, don't focus on any grammar, words that you don't know, or missing articles. Simply focus on the modified words, and from there, you can try to understand them in any way you want. Let's take a simple masculine word in the singular form, like dom, which is a house. and try to exploit this word in every expression that I showed. The expression big house in Russian is большой дом. This expression is nominative because by asking what, we have an answer. What's big? A house is big, so therefore it's the nominative case. You can also tell it's the nominative because it's the only subject in the phrase and the fact that it's not modified in any way. Also, the adjective большой is modified to fit dom in the nominative case. Here we have the expression I am from a big house, which is я из большого дома. This expression is genitive because by asking from where or from what, we have an answer. From where are you? I am from a big house. Because you just said from where you are, you generated a different expression which is different from simply saying big house. In this case, большой changes to большого and dom changes to дома in the genitive because again, it's a different expression. Just because you see one ending for a singular masculine word, it does not mean that it's going to be the same across feminine and neuter words in the genitive, especially when plural, and it's the same with other expressions. That's the power of these expressions, so don't try to memorize them as is. Simply look at how these words change. I am going to a big house in Russian is я иду к большому дому. This expression is dative because by asking to where or to what, we have an answer. To where are you going? I am going to a big house. Большого now changes to большому and дома changes to дому. Once again, it's a different expression from the previous ones. The phrase I bought a big house in Russian is я купил большой дом. This expression is accusative because it borrows the same words. However, it has a different meaning by asking what did you buy as opposed to simply what. What did you buy? I bought a big house, which is a different expression. In this case, you have the same words taken from a previous expression, so they're borrowed. Sometimes you can have repeating words, but don't get it confused with the meanings which are different. The expression I am with a big house is я с большим домом. Even though it's a weird sentence, it just shows a different way to modify words. This expression is instrumental because by asking with what, we have an answer. With what are you? I am with a big house. Большой now becomes большим and дом becomes домам, which is a different expression from the previous ones. The expression I talk about a big house is я говорю о большом доме. This expression is prepositional because by asking about what, we have an answer. About what do you talk? I talk about a big house. Большим is now большом and домам is now доме. Notice how in English, big house stays big house in every sentence because English doesn't have declensions. In Russian, however, большой дом changes in a few ways that are different in every case. This is what the 6 Russian cases do. They change words in 6 different ways because each way generates a different type of expression. Hopefully, you can understand this. Now let's see what happens when we pluralize every sentence. This is what happens when we pluralize them. Большой дом becomes большие дома. Я из большого дома is now я из больших домов. Я иду к большому дому changes to я иду к большим домам, and so on and so forth. To make matters more useful, here's a shorter and more explicit demonstration of what dom looks like in each case. The recording that you see comes from a site called Cooljigator, which shows each modification, singular and plural, in each case for any noun. In the future, in case you don't know how to change a word, or if you forgot, this website can help you out. I have its link in the description under the video. Even though it's a lot of information to handle, I highly advise not to memorize all of it because it's way too much to understand. I'm just showing these phrases so you can visually see what Russian does. In the next videos, I'll explain each case individually using both context and basic sentences. At last, let me finish with a different word in the same phrase, like школа, which is school. As you can see, the modifications and endings for the word школа is different than дом because школа is a singular feminine word. Большая школа, я из большой школы, я иду к большой школе, Я купил большую школу. Я с большой школой. Я говорю о большой школе. In this case, the adjective большой is borrowed more because of the use of a feminine word like школа. For instance, большой is repeated 4 times across every case except the nominative and the accusative, despite школа changing form, but at the same time repeating itself in the dative and prepositional cases. Now let's see what happens when we pluralize them. This is what happens. Большие школы. Я из больших школ. Я иду к большим школам, and so on and so forth. Here is a more explicit demonstration of what школа looks like in each case, singular and plural. At last, let's finish this concept with a neuter word like окно, which is window. As you can see, the modifications and endings for the word окно is different than школа because окно is a singular neuter word. Большое окно, стекло разбилось из большого окна, иди к большому окну, я купил большое окно, я с большим окном, я говорю о большом окне. In this case, the adjective большой borrows words as with the word дом, except in the nominative and accusative, where большой becomes большое. Now let's see what happens when we pluralize them. This is what happens. Большие окна, стекло разбилось из больших окон, иди к большим окнам, and so on and so forth. Here is a more explicit demonstration of what окно looks like in each case, singular and plural. In conclusion, this is what the 6 Russian cases do. They modify words depending on the expression and intonation, so you have to watch out for what you say when you express something in Russian.